faithfully sharing value and interpreting great books from around the world. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today's book is How to Achieve Goals. The book also has another title called Success, Motivation, and Goals. What goals do you want to achieve? Feel free to leave a comment. Everyone has goals they want to achieve, but many aren't easy to accomplish. Take quitting smoking as an example. According to CDC stats, 7 out of 10 smokers want to quit. But among those who actually try to quit, only 15% succeed. Although everyone knows smoking is harmful, 500,000 Americans still die each year from smoking-related diseases. What prevents us from achieving goals, and how can we do it effectively? That's what this book explores. The author, Heidi Grant Helverson, is a PhD in psychology and deputy director of the Motivation Science Center at Columbia University. For years, Heidi has researched goal-related topics. She found the biggest obstacle is underestimating complexity. Many think that just picking an interesting goal, making a plan, and sticking to it will lead to success. But reality isn't that simple. Many factors affect success. From goal feasibility, understanding, methods, plan formats, to self-control levels. If any part fails, it can cause failure. Only by considering all these factors can we overcome obstacles and achieve goals. The book has 13 chapters and is 140,000 words long. In the book, Heidi combines the latest psychology research to introduce goals, theories, and experiments. She gives concrete methods from choosing goals to action, helping people achieve effectively. Carol Dweck, a Stanford psychology professor and proponent of the growth mindset, praised the book for its rigor, practical value, and ability to help achieve real change. Next, I'll cover the book's main content in 3 parts. First, what is a good goal worth pursuing? Second, what impact does having different goal focuses bring? Third, how to strengthen action and persistence. All right, let's start with part 1. What is a good goal worth pursuing? If you pick the wrong goal from the start, no matter how hard you try, you won't get results. The book introduces 3 characteristics of good goals. The first is balancing satisfaction and feasibility. Satisfaction refers to what benefits come from achieving the goal, how much happier we'll be. Feasibility refers to how likely it is to achieve the goal and what obstacles need to be overcome. A good goal should make us satisfied and also be achievable. How do we judge a goal's satisfaction and feasibility? This relates to how we view the goal from different angles. So, we can understand goals from 2 angles. One is called why. That is, why am I pursuing this goal? This links the goal to a larger meaning, corresponding to satisfaction. For example, from the why angle of aiming to get into a good university, we think about how a good university has more resources, offers more opportunities, and makes job hunting easier in the future. The other angle is called what. This refers to what needs to be done to achieve the goal. Well, this helps us understand the goal from a concrete execution perspective, corresponding to feasibility. From this angle, when thinking about getting into a good university, we focus on which subjects are weak now, how to improve them, and whether to sign up for a tutoring class. When considering long-term goals, people tend towards why, while for short-term goals, they lean towards what. Psychologists conducted an experiment asking 2 groups of students to describe moving. The result was that students imagining moving tomorrow described it as packing boxes, which is typical of the what angle, focusing on feasibility. Whereas those imagining moving in a month described it as starting a new life. This is why. The angle focuses on satisfaction. The reason many goals aren't achieved is that people only think from one perspective. Therefore, when looking to the future, we might be overly optimistic and set unrealistic goals by focusing only on why. For example, someone with little exercise experience planning to run a marathon in a few months might be optimistic when setting the goal, thinking they can improve their running level in that time. Well, but by the time the race approaches, they might realize they haven't trained enough and can't finish the whole course. And When considering immediate arrangements, we might fear the hassle by focusing only on what? Missing out on current opportunities. The author once had a chance for a free trip to India, but time was tight. He thought about handling passports, visas, and a bunch of procedures, plus arranging work and household chores. Immediately felt overwhelmed, agonized for ages, but still didn't go. Later, he deeply regretted it and spent thousands of his own dollars traveling to India. So, to find good goals, we need to consider both why and what for each goal, find balance between satisfaction and feasibility, and determine what suits us best. The author recommends a method called mental contrasting. Mental contrasting means when choosing a goal, first imagine you've already achieved it. Then think about what obstacles might prevent you from achieving it. Suppose your goal is joining a renowned company. Imagine being hired and how you'd realize your value at work. Next, consider what obstacles you might face achieving this goal. For example, many applicants create fierce competition. The positive vision makes you eager to achieve it. Thus, facing obstacles, you'll be more motivated to act and find solutions. Like polishing your resume or preparing interview answers, this balances satisfaction and feasibility well. The second characteristic of good goals is specificity, having measurable, objective criteria. For example, a study goal shouldn't be improve exam scores, but rank in the top 10% of the grade. A weight loss goal shouldn't be get slimmer, but lose 5 kilograms in 3 months. Some people set goals like try my hardest. But the author argues such goals are too vague. How do we define best or know we've tried enough? Because vague goals make people feel good enough and stop trying. Specific goals only have achieved or not achieved states, no gray area. This clarity drives progress. Only with specific goals can we make targeted plans and achieve goals effectively. The third characteristic is challenge. Goals should require full effort. The first two are essential, but challenge isn't always needed. Many goals just require task completion. Goals like sleeping before 11 p.m. or saving $30,000 for travel in 6 months are reasonable without added difficulty. But if your goal is to improve performance in some area, it's necessary to make it challenging, as challenging goals lead to better outcomes. Because after setting an achievable goal, the outcome usually just meets it. Few people exceed it. Only challenging goals can motivate people to put in more effort and achieve better results. Researchers surveyed 3,000 U.S. federal employees and found that those who saw their work as challenging and had higher goals scored best in annual performance reviews. These people are also happier because completing challenging goals gives more achievement and satisfaction than simple ones, boosting confidence and willingness to tackle tougher goals. And this, in turn, enhances performance, creating a virtuous cycle where success and happiness reinforce each other. All right, to summarize part one, grid goals have 3 characteristics. The first is balancing satisfaction and feasibility. We can use mental contrasting to think about why and what, balancing a goal's value and feasibility. The second characteristic is specificity. Specific goals motivate people to achieve them fully and avoid quitting midway. Third is challenge. If you want to improve performance, challenging goals lead to better outcomes and more happiness. But just having good goals isn't enough. The author notes that even with the same goals, different focuses lead to different actions and results. Next, in part 2, we'll discuss how focus affects achieving goals. The book introduces 2 sets of focus points. The first is loss versus gain. The author gives a personal example. When her son started learning to walk at age 1, to help him, she put plush rugs on hard floors, installed safety gates at stairs, and bought non-slip shoes, all to prevent injuries. Her husband also wanted their son to learn to walk, but his approach was completely different. He encouraged their son to climb stairs and explore everywhere. He'd even place obstacles on the ground to see if the boy could navigate around them. Whenever the author saw their son walking unsteadily, she'd want to help him, while the husband, even seeing him fall, wasn't worried, and encouraged him to stand up alone. Now, the author and her husband had the exact same goal of helping their son learn to walk, but their focuses were different. The author saw learning to walk as dangerous and focused on avoiding injuries. Her husband saw learning to walk as growth and focused on the benefits it brought. Different focuses led to different action styles. The author was more conservative, cautious, and risk-averse, while the husband was more proactive, adventurous, and willing to take risks. Beyond action styles, focus also affected motivation. When focusing on gains, motivation came from the desire for success. The higher the likelihood of success, the greater the motivation. If we found the likelihood of success decreasing, motivation dropped. But when focusing on losses, motivation came from aversion to loss. The higher the risk of failure, the greater the motivation. The author conducted an experiment where she had a group of students play a spelling game. She told one half of the students that everyone would get $4, but if they scored 70 points, they'd get $5. To the other half, she said everyone would get $5, but if they scored below 70, they'd be penalized and only get $4. For all students, the goal was the same, to score 70 points to get $5. But the students' focuses differed. Some focused on gains, hoping to get the reward. Some focused on losses, hoping to avoid punishment. Halfway through the experiment, the author told all students their current scores. Then, students had to tell the author how likely they thought they were to succeed. At the same time, the author measured changes in their motivation. Results showed that after learning, they were halfway, and their scores were above 70. The reward group's confidence soared. They felt the chance of getting the $5 was higher, and their motivation increased significantly. But the penalty group's expectation of success didn't change much, and their motivation actually decreased. Upon learning they were halfway but hadn't reached 70 yet, the reward group's motivation dropped sharply. They thought they were likely to fail and not get the reward, so naturally they didn't want to try. The penalty group, although also feeling they might fail, because they feared punishment, their motivation didn't drop. Instead, it quickly increased, and they stayed focused to finish the game. Overall, whether we focus on gains or losses for a goal affects our action style and motivation in different situations. The author believes neither focus is inherently better. They suit different goals, and people can choose the appropriate focus to increase success rates. How do we choose the right focus for a goal? The author offers 3 suggestions. First, for simple goals, focus on gains. For challenging goals, focus on losses. Simple goals have high success likelihood, so focusing on gains makes us give our all for benefits. Challenging goals have higher failure risk,
So, focusing on losses drives us to act to avoid negative outcomes.
Second, for creativity-driven goals, e.g. product design, career planning, focus on gains. For execution-focused goals, e.g. academic improvement, sales targets, focus on losses. Focusing on gains makes us proactive and open to new possibilities, sparking imagination and creativity. Focusing on losses makes us detail-oriented and practical, helping us stay grounded. This aids in planning and executing concrete tasks. Third, for speed-prioritized goals, focus on gains. For accuracy-prioritized goals, focus on losses. Speed and accuracy often conflict. Faster speed usually means lower accuracy. For example, reading faster means retaining less content. Gain-focused individuals want quick results and typically work faster, ideal for speed goals. Loss-focused individuals seek perfection, fearing mistakes that cause setbacks. They work slower with intense attention to detail, suited for accuracy goals. That covers gains and losses. Now let's examine the second focus set, proving ability versus pursuing growth. Those focused on proving ability aim to demonstrate superiority through goal achievement. Growth-focused individuals prioritize skill development. Goals serve as feedback. Success is a natural outcome.
If they fail, they actively analyze causes, identify improvements, and strive for better next time.
Psychologists have found that if a goal is relatively simple, then focusing on showcasing talent brings stronger motivation and better performance. Because they desire to prove themselves better than others, those who focus on showcasing talent are willing to put in maximum effort to do things well. But if the goal is challenging and involves setbacks and failures, then those who focus on pursuing improvement perform better. The author gives an example. Medical school students in their first year take a general chemistry course, which is very difficult. Most students do poorly on the first exam. To get a good final grade, students must persist despite initial low scores. Through investigation, the author found that every student wants an A grade, but they have different interpretations of what grades mean. Some students believe grades reflect their intelligence. Their focus is on showcasing talent. Other students emphasize learning and progress in the course, gaining new knowledge and skills. Their focus is on pursuing improvement. The author observed these students' grade changes throughout the semester. He found that students focused on improvement generally had better final grades. Their grades weren't great at first, but improved with each exam. Focusing on progress gave them a long-term perspective. They treat previous exam results as feedback, learning from them to enhance future performance. Progress in each exam motivated them to persist, ultimately achieving good results. As for students focused on showcasing talent, conversely, if the first exam went poorly, they tended to perform worse each time because they felt one bad exam proved they weren't smart enough, naturally losing motivation to continue. Besides better final performance, pursuing improvement also makes people enjoy the process more. Students focused on showcasing talent only care about the final outcome and don't enjoy the process, whereas students focused on improvement told the author that learning chemistry was meaningful and joyful.
In their view, progress comes from daily diligence and accumulation, not final exam scores. Focusing on progress makes people immerse themselves in learning, experiencing more joy.
Pursuing improvement in the workplace also helps achieve challenging goals. American psychologist Don Vandeval challenged 153 employees' sales performance. These employees were from a medical supply distribution company. Their work is challenging, requiring effort and persistence, and they often face rejection. Van der Waal found that employees who focused on showcasing talent didn't achieve outstanding performance when facing challenging sales targets, whereas those who focused on pursuing improvement invested more time and effort, and their performance was better. All right, to summarize part 2, for the same goal, different focuses bring different impacts. Focusing on gains makes people proactive. The higher the likelihood of success, the greater the motivation. Focusing on losses makes people conservative and cautious. The higher the risk of failure, the greater the motivation.
Focusing on showcasing talent makes people eager to prove they are better than others.
Focusing on pursuing improvement makes people emphasize long-term skill development. For simple goals, recommend focusing on gains and showcasing talent. For challenging goals, recommend focusing on losses and pursuing improvement. For goals requiring creativity or pursuing speed, recommend focusing on gains. For goals emphasizing details or pursuing accuracy, recommend focusing on losses. All right, we've just covered how to choose good goals and focuses. Achieving these gives a good start, but it doesn't mean the rest will be smooth sailing. People might give up midway in actual actions due to various factors. Next, in part 3, we'll discuss how to strengthen action and persist in pursuing goals. The book mentions many methods. Here I've selected 3 that are practical and easy to implement. The first method is to create effective, specific plans. Plans help achieve goals, but the problem is many plans aren't followed through. People are inconsistent, so they don't motivate action. What kind of plan can truly help us take action and persist? Peter Gollwitzer, a psychologist at New York University, found that if plans include specific times, locations, and actions, it significantly boosts effectiveness. He summarized the form of effective plans as If situation A occurs, I will take action B. He also named this type of plan implementation intentions. For example, for someone losing weight, their plan shouldn't be vague, not run regularly, but if it's the weekend in the morning, I'll go downstairs for a 5-kilometer jog. Implementation intentions have clear effects. In one experiment, the author had a group of students on summer vacation. She gave them a practice exam booklet and told them she would check completion after vacation. I knew what the author had half the students create implementation intentions, clearly writing down under what circumstances they would work on problems. For example, if I finish breakfast, I'll return to my room to work on problems. The other half didn't create implementation intentions. After summer vacation, the author found students without implementation intentions completed an average of 100 exercises, while those with implementation intentions completed 250 exercises on average. Further research found implementation intentions improve success rates for all goals: environmental protection, academic improvement, or fitness, showing strong universality. Implementation intentions work by creating reflexes between situations and actions. Whenever conditions are met, we automatically take action. This reflex happens subconsciously, avoiding conscious hesitation and procrastination. Like the exercise example, after breakfast, students naturally start working without deliberate thought. This creates automated responses that boost efficiency. The second method to strengthen action is improving self-control. Self-control is essential for achieving any goal. We need it to resist temptations and delay gratification.
Sticking to plans. Surveys show self-control predicts attendance and grades more reliably than IQ tests.
Self-control strength is key to persistent action. Good news, science proves self-control is like a muscle. It can be strengthened through training. The most common method is choosing something requiring self-control and committing to it. Over time, overall self-control increases and positively impacts all areas. In one experiment, participants received free gym memberships and regular fitness training. After 2 months of persistence, participants showed significant improvements across multiple domains. They smoked less, drank less alcohol, ate less junk food, procrastinated less, and developed better study habits. In short, they performed better in every area requiring self-control. Beyond fitness, studies showed diet control, regular budgeting, and even posture reminders boost self-control. Self-control resembles muscles, not just because it strengthens with exercise, but also because it fatigues and weakens after use. Therefore, we also need to know how to restore self-control. The simplest way is resting. Avoid anything requiring self-control and let it recover naturally. Besides that, improving mood can also restore self-control. There are many ways to boost mood. Gift giving is one. In one study, researchers gathered people with depleted self-control and gave some thank you gifts. Then they had them drink unpleasant beverages. Results showed gift recipients drank twice as much as non-recipients, similar to pre-depletion levels, meaning simple gifts rapidly restore self-control.
Beyond mood improvement, sugar intake also restores self-control.
Multiple studies show blood sugar drops significantly after self-control depletion. Though the exact mechanism isn't clear, self-control definitely relies on blood glucose. Psychologists found that after self-control depletion, drinking orange juice before patients' precision tasks restored performance to pre-depletion levels. The third method to strengthen action is leveraging environmental triggers for the subconscious. Many think achieving goals is deliberate. Decide goal, make plan, implement step by step. But often we achieve goals unconsciously, like driving home after work without actively thinking about steering or turns. You might listen to the radio and enjoy scenery while effortlessly completing the drive home goal. This happens because environments trigger the subconscious to help achieve goals. For example, dusk falling and starting your car at work cue the subconscious. Time to drive home. As mentioned earlier, the subconscious excels at speed and efficiency without procrastination. The more the subconscious participates in actions, the higher the goal achievement likelihood. Environmental cues for the subconscious vary widely. Written text is a common form. In one experiment, participants played a fish and computer game, aiming to catch as many fish as possible. Fish reproduced over time. If you fish aggressively at the start, there'll be no fish left later. So, for long-term benefits, participants need to cooperate. After catching fish, release some to increase the overall fish population. This way, everyone ultimately catches more fish. One group played directly, while another first made sentences with words like helping others and sharing cooperation. And results showed sentence makers demonstrated stronger cooperation, releasing 25% more fish than others. Besides text, goal-related objects can also activate the subconscious. For example, passing a gym can spark exercise motivation. Seeing fruits or vegetables encourages healthy eating. Others examples also trigger subconscious responses. In one experiment, psychologists prepared two stories for two groups. The first story featured someone working on a farm for a month to earn travel money. The second story had someone volunteering for a month before traveling without pay. Both groups then did paid work where faster completion meant more money. Results showed the paid work story group worked 10% faster than the volunteer story group. This indicates work stories activate subconscious desires for earning. Therefore, at home or work, we can place goal-related cues to trigger subconscious for weight loss. Put fitness magazines on kitchen counters, set muscular wallpapers on computers, or post workout plans on desks. These cues unconsciously reduce eating and increase exercise for easier success. All right, let's summarize part 3. To achieve goals and avoid quitting midway, we must strengthen action. First method. Create effective plans, structured as if situation A happens, I'll do action B. Second, boost self-control through daily practice, or restore it via rest, mood improvement, and sugar intake. Third, leverage environmental triggers like text, objects, or role models to activate subconscious. With this, we've covered most of how to achieve goals. When failing to achieve goals, many people feel self-doubt and self-blame, thinking they didn't try hard enough. The author believes failure often comes from insufficient knowledge. With the right knowledge and positive will, we can find suitable goals, achieve them, and build a happy life. And then, I want to see, after listening, which insight did you find most useful? Feel free to leave comments sharing how you achieve goals. That's all for this book's interpretation. Find the reading notes below the audio. See you next time.